As most Canadians know by now, the Liberals love to spend money. For example, during his 9-year reign, Trudeau posted 9 consecutive years of deficit spending, totaling $4.2 trillion, doubling the federal debt from $1 trillion to $2.15 trillion. Now, the interest on that debt is $53.7 billion per year. Then along comes Mark Carney, who promised less government spending and a better trade deal with the US, but in fact started out the opposite by spending $40.3 billion without any debate in Parliament. And Trump won't even take his calls.
Just blow your mind. Watch this. Pay very close attention because you're not seeing this on any mainstream media. No debate, no vote, $40 billion gone. On April 1st, while most of us were focused on the real challenges of our lives, rising food prices, high rent, increasing debt, broken healthcare, the Trudeau-appointed Governor General quietly approved $40 billion in new federal spending. This is done under the approval and guidance of Mark Carney. This was done under what's called a special warrant. It sounds official, but here's what it really means. Billions of your dollars spent without debate, without a vote, without a single question in Parliament. And the appropriate ministers have reported that the payment of these sums is urgently required for the public good.
Public good? How is it even remotely in the public interest to spend money without any oversight or debate in Parliament? And what exactly did they spend that money on? Just this week, Carney tabled a bill to spend even more. How much more? Listen to this.
His spending is not as bad as Justin Trudeau's, it's actually worse. And he promised to, quote, spend less. The first spending bill that he's dropped in the House of Commons spends 8% more than Trudeau did in his last year in office.
This proposed spending is approximately $486 billion, an increase of $37 billion more than Trudeau's last year in office. This includes a whopping 37% rise in consultant spending. That's actually $26 billion spent on consultants. No doubt these consultants will be closely tied to the Liberals, but the fact is, the only thing this spending will do is fuel inflation, debt, and rising costs for Canadians. Taxes, taxes, and more taxes. It's important to talk about some of the things that they're spending money on. For example, the CBC. And why wouldn't they spend money there? The CBC wholeheartedly endorsed Carney and got him elected, even after 9 years of Trudeau's decline. But what's actually happening at the CBC is almost beyond comprehension.
CBC has received over $12 billion. Their ratings are atrocious. 27 stations across Canada received a mere 320,000 viewers, an average of 12,000 viewers each. Did you know they have 143 executive directors? They have 8 directors of finance, 9 directors of legal services, 26 directors overseeing technology and infrastructure. They have 40 who are responsible for French services. They had a decline of 72% of viewership in the last 6 years. They have biased coverage, they have broken trust, and they have failed leadership at a once cherished network.
It turns out that 98% of us don't watch the CBC for our news. That certainly doesn't stop the Carney Liberals from spending money wherever it's going to prop up their public image. Case in point, the recent firing of one of their on-air personalities.
CBC is biased, dysfunctional. It believes in tokenism and not diversity of opinion, but don't take my word for it. Take Travis Danarash's word. Danarash is someone who's worked for CTV, for Global. CBC recruited him. They put him on Parliament Hill. They developed a whole show around him. Turns out they didn't really like Danarash's diversity because he had the wrong kind of diversity. See, CBC is all in favor of diversity as long as it doesn't go beyond your skin tone. And Danaraj is someone who wanted to put a diversity of opinions and voices on the air while hosting a CBC show. That caused problems. They took him off the air.
Of course, the DEI requirements are on full display at the CBC. But as you heard, it doesn't necessarily apply to diversity of opinion. Their opinions are the government's opinions, or rather, the Liberals' opinions. What else are they spending money on? Immigrants. Specifically a program called the Interim Housing Assistance Program for asylum seekers. How much are they spending? Check this out.
Since 2017, Canada's federal government has spent a staggering $1.1 billion to house asylum seekers in hotels, a program initially framed as a temporary emergency response. Add another $1.5 billion in transfers to provinces and municipalities through the Interim Housing Assistance Program, or IHAP, and the total cost soars to over $2.6 billion. This wasn't supposed to be a long-term solution, but as the number of asylum claims skyrocketed from 50,000 in 2017 to 173,000 in 2024, the so-called temporary measure of block booking hotel rooms has become institutionalized.
I love that word, institutionalized. It basically means that spending our tax dollars on whatever they decide has become the norm. Whether it's high-paid consultants, the CBC, or asylum seekers. It's all become institutionalized. And in my opinion, Canadians are fast asleep, letting it all unfold. In fact, the Elbows Up group is not just sleeping, they are supporting their chosen leader. But where is the accountability? And where does it all end? We haven't even talked about climate spending, EV mandates, or any one of a dozen other liberal spending habits. The fact is, there's no such thing as government money. It's your money. And they are spending not just what they have already, but what they intend to tax you on in the future. Before Trudeau, we came very close to balancing the budget. Since then, 9 deficits in a row, and we're about to post the biggest deficit of all time. If Canada's economy isn't broken yet, it just may be very soon. When exactly will Carney live up to the promises he made to get elected? He has no intentions of honoring any of those promises. If you voted for him, can you even name one thing he's done that helps you make your monthly budget? I'm Glenn Zacher. Consider a thumbs up for the video and subscribing. And I'll see you next time.